In 2024, Malaysian businesses are expected to capitalize on emerging opportunities in digital innovation, sustainable practices, and regional collaborations. All that while remaining vigilant against potential economic fluctuations and global market challenges. Now, how do businesses cultivate adaptive strategies for sustained growth and resilience? I'm Zahir Kelvinong Abdullah, and this is Money Matters. Hello there, good evening and welcome to Money Matters on your favorite channel right here on TV3. We are also available on HD via Tonton. Well, today we have in this studio Sri Soh Thian Lai, President of the National Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia, NCCIM. Thank you for joining us, Sri, and if it's not too late, let me wish you a very happy new year for 2024.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. Now, Sri, obviously, it's January of the new year 2024.
Yes.
Now, in this brand new year, one of the new challenges that NCCIM are most concerned about, two parts here, and what approaches that can be taken to manage them?
In fact, 2023 was a challenging year. We hope 2024 could be a better one. But based on the World Bank projection, the global economic growth could only be achieved around 2.4%. And this is our concern, because this was 3 years consecutively the projection been dropping. We are very worried that the global demands slow down and the economic growth will slow down. And this one definitely will impact Malaysia, because we are a trading nation. We depend a lot of market access so that our manufactured products or our services can be exported to the world. Another area that we are very concerned is cost. Now, 2023 we had faced a lot of cost increase, energy costs, labor costs. Both costs add up together about close to 40% increase in terms of our overall operating costs. And this one definitely will not augur well for all the manufacturers, because we need to compete. Global markets, it depends on how competitive you are. It depends on your price, it depends on your quality. So we are very worried that 2024, if a global demand slow down, then it will impact our industries. And the challenges, we need to solve it. We need a business-friendly environment. And we also, important that the Malaysian government need to strengthen our ringgit, because we imported ringgit close to 1 trillion. About US 300 billions. Out of this US 300 billions, about 55% were intermediate goods for processing. If our ringgit is weak, our cost is at high side. Even though our ringgit at the high side, but because of margin squeeze, so a lot of exports, the price cannot be competitive. This is an area that we are quite concerned. And we also think that this year, Malaysia governments also, through the TVET, need to groom talents for the industries. I think with the good talents, and this one can enhance productivity.
So looking at this, Sri, moving on to what everybody sees as a rapidly changing global economy. So what strategies do you believe Malaysian businesses should adopt to remain competitive internationally?
First thing is we need to implement our short-term solutions, especially the innovative solutions. For example, we can implement using digital tools, by digitalization and to enhance efficiency, especially on the processes of any manufacturing company. And we also need to accelerate online presence. For example, we need to participate a lot of e-commerce so that they are able to move their products to overseas faster. And we also need to strategize to outsource some of our products. If your cost is high, you can outsource to other companies that are able to produce at cheaper cost.
Right. Tan Sri, just before we go to the break, let me ask your opinion on what role do you see foreign investments playing in Malaysia's economic development, and how is the Chamber facilitating such investments?
FDIs play very critical roles in Malaysia. Last year, for 9 months, MIDA statistic attracted about 225 billion ringgit approved investments that they committed to invest in Malaysia. So all these foreign investors, when they come here, they contribute to capital inflow, they contribute to jobs creations, they also contribute to technology advancements, they also contribute towards the what we call our economic growth, especially in terms of their governance and best practices. All these are good things that they can bring in. Right. Another area they can bring in to assist Malaysia, especially the industry, is research and development.
Okay. Tan Sri, hold that thought. We've just got to go for a very quick commercial break. Stay with us. We're talking to Sri Soh Thian Lai, the president of NCCIM. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. We're talking to Sri Soh Thian Lai, the president of NCCIM. Now, Sri, let's look at the reforms. What reforms does the chamber advocate for to enhance the business climate in Malaysia?
Business community would like stable governments. Political stability is a key for economic growth. We cannot have one-term 4 PMs. This one is so much uncertainties that even investors, local investors, domestic investors also lose confidence. You don't need to talk about foreign direct investors. So we hope that this time around, our governments please work on 5 years continuously. And we would like our governments to focus on 3 improvements. Okay. First improvement is to improve the economic growth. Second improvement is to improve the rakyat well-beings. The third one is to improve institution efficiencies and effectiveness. Then you create a confidence for all people, for all industries, so that there are more investment, not only FDIs, also DDIs.
So when you've mentioned these 3 things that you'd like the government to do, have you engaged the government with regards to your proposals?
During the last year, our National Economic Forum, we did highlight to governments also that the governments must carry out the right things or do the right things so that all the investors in Malaysia, they are able to plan. We must have right policies, and the policies must follow 3 C's: consistent, clarity, and certainty. So we cannot have a flip-flop policies from governments. Then how can the investors follow?
Hence why you mentioned political stability, right?
Yes.
Okay. So moving on, Sri, considering Malaysia's role in regional economic groups like ASEAN, right? How does the chamber facilitate cross-border collaborations and partnerships among member countries to bolster trade and investment opportunities?
Malaysia, as a trading nation, about 65% of our export, around US 360 billion exports, about 65% of them through bilateral agreements or multilateral agreements. That's why we can see that the RCEP and CPTPP both create more market access for our industries. We think that as a chambers, we would like to advocate more market access through bilateral or multilateral. For example, we also would like the government to consider seriously the Malaysia-EU free trade agreements so that we are able to have better access and we can export more to their countries.
Looking at what you've just mentioned about the industries, Sri, do you know which industries are the weakest that needs to be concentrated on by the government?
No, for the manufacturing sectors, we have about 20 over industries. There are certain sector industries that Malaysia government really need to look into it. There is a food security.
Food security.
Yes. We still think that Malaysia's food security levels, if you compare the ranking among the ASEAN countries, we almost at the bottom. Whereas in Malaysia, we have plenty of land. So the government should allocate at least 1 million hectares of land for all the cash crops cultivations. And Malaysia should also bring in investors and by setting up a fully integrated food processing hub. Last year, when National Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia visited Singapore, we also proposed to Singapore, one of the state ministers, that Malaysia and Singapore should have one special investment zone that to be in Johor. At that time, we proposed a special investment zone to focus on food processing in Johor, so that all the Johorians, the skilled workforce, they are able to stay in Johor. No need to cross the state to Singapore. And with this, Singapore also is able to invest with lesser cost, because in Malaysia's the labor cost, if you use Sing dollar to pay, it's very cheap to Singapore.
Now, Tan Sri, let's talk about the ESG fund, because pre-budget NCCIM proposed a 2 billion ringgit ESG fund. When the budget was announced, the government announced a 2 billion ringgit allocation for National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR, and the 200 million startup fund of the new industrial master plan. So do you think these efforts are sufficient enough to assist businesses in adopting sustainable practices?
My frank opinions are, is not enough. It is just a beginning. SMEs at the moment, their weakness is there are shortage of funds. That's why we propose the government to set up ESG 2 billion fund, is to hold hand, so that the SMEs will get prepared. Now the European Union, they have set up so many ESG Act and regulations. Example of carbon border adjustment mechanism. They are already implement. Okay, and in Malaysia side, we are not ready. Now, if the ESG fund is not ready with a low interest rate, say banks, they provide 200 billion. But that one is a bank, they will charge the interest. But the SMEs, they are very concerned. And large local companies also, they are also concerned. Because ESG, we talk about environment, social, and governance. Now, even we talk about green, one is carbonized, one is decarbonized. Okay, when carbonize, you generate revenue, you generate profit. When you decarbonize, you spend money. Now, ESG talking about how to have green products, how to reduce carbon emission, how to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. All these are spending money. So SMEs, as I say just now, the winner is the short of funds. So we are asking governments, at least you come out 2 billion fund to help SMEs.
Right. So looking at what you mentioned for the SMEs, so these efforts that you mentioned, balancing environmental concerns with the need for economic growth. So how do you propose this will work?
We are still thinking that at the moment, the governments, although during the budgets, they come out 50,000 tax deduction, or this and that, but I still think that the governments should give more incentives and come up more incentives in the next budget, so that all the SMEs, especially SMEs, they are able to tap into it, so that they can implement the ESG program.
Tan Sri, hold that thought. We've just got to go for our final commercial break. Stay with us. We're talking to Sri Soh Thian Lai, the president of NCCIM. Thank you for staying with us on Money Matters. Now, Tan Sri, can we move on to the focus of 2024, which you mentioned just now? So the PM has said that the focus of 2024 will be on the economy. So what sort of growth do you expect for 2024, even though we're still in January? And what does the government need to focus on with the private sector, like NCCIM, to ensure strong growth?
Malaysia is a trade-dependent economy. We are trading nations. What PM had said to focus economy, this is a must. Because if the economy does not grow, the incomes generation will be reduced. The income tax pay also will be reduced. So we view that the industries should focus on their operation efficiency so that they are able to produce their products and to enhance their productivity, at the same time also to sell their products widely to the world markets. This honestly, in terms of SMEs, their export capabilities is still weak. Our total exports, the SME only export around 10%. So there are big room that Malaysia's SMEs are able to tap into the current economic conditions and to improve their processes so that they are able to export more to overseas.
Right. Now, when you mentioned about SMEs and you know, trying to take advantage of the situation, but of course, economic growth for 2023 was 4%. Would achieving 4.5% be possible despite geopolitical conflicts and, you know, there's a supply chain problem around the world as well now? So can SMEs actually tap into this, like you mentioned?
Malaysia's 2024, we are still cautiously optimistic. Possible we are able to achieve around 4 to 4.5%, provided that the global supply chain disruptions will not become so severe. And we view that Malaysia's competitiveness, although under the global competitiveness ranking, Malaysia's at 27th position last year, we believe that with this year, we should be able to improve further to around 20. And we think that Malaysia's companies, at the moment, we are the top 20 in terms of our export. So we are still confident that we are able to achieve the target set. Important is the government's policies must be business friendly, and the government must reduce the bureaucratic process and make all the applications of the provincial license, all the permits, everything to be smooth and to help the industries to achieve our goal.
Right. So you also have always emphasized the need for a one-stop agency for foreign workers. What would these advantages be?
The advantages of one-stop center and end-to-end online system by the ministry, a single ministry, the one we used to propose is Ministry of Human Resource to handle it, is to have a holistic, fair and transparent, and without any flip-flop decision made. Because we have two ministries involved, both have their decision making, and this one will delay the process. So for any industries, speed time is the essence. It's very important for us. And with a one-stop end-to-end online system managed by a single platform, can have a coherent set of policies that one able to achieve our strategy framework. Without the coherent set of policies, then very fragmented. So this one will disrupt the economic growth, especially in terms of our manufacturing, in terms of our service industries. What we want is a speed. What we want is to high outputs and high productivity.
Right. So looking at this one-stop agency, as you said, so where should it fall under in terms of the government?
Our view, this single platform should fall under Ministry of Human Resource, because Ministry of Human Resource, they are taking charge of manpower. We have a SOCSO inside, we have HRD Corp inside, we have all the human resource related agencies under this. So we are thinking that with the Ministry of Human Resource, they have all the data. So all this centralized repository of database is under one ministry. They are able to handle the situation well. So for example, let's say we ask the governments, how many illegal foreign workers in Malaysia? Can any of the ministries really answer correctly? So at the moment, the legal foreign workers, based on statistics, 1.2, 1.3 millions. Okay. Now, how about illegals? So because the data is not under a centralized repository, so we need a single platform under single ministry so that they are able to manage well, so that to reduce any of the problems happen subsequently.
Right. Tan Sri, thank you very much for being on Money Matters. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. So for the past half an hour, you've been with us on Money Matters. If you missed the earlier part of this episode, you can also catch it up on Tonton. Be sure to join us next week, same time, right here on TV3. I'm Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.